Hello and welcome. Today we are watching a video called Lies About India Spread by Foreigners. So this guy, I've watched other videos of him.
Oh, really? I
And
don't know
he's a
him.
Singaporean who's been living in Bengaluru for
Oh, okay.
more than a decade. I think he's been there for 18 years or so.
Oh, that is
And,
close to 2 decades.
Oh yeah, it's close to decades. So let's go
That
take a
is
look
long.
what he has
Yeah, I'm
to
really
say
curious
about
to
this.
know.
I think India is really number one. Not just that, India is probably number one, number two, and number three.
What?
This is Andy Lim,
That's
an
cheating.
entrepreneur from Singapore who moved to India to start a business 18 years ago.
Oh, yes,
So
so you're right.
The biggest misconceptions about India in Western media, explained why some Indian restaurants ask for payment in advance,
Oh, really?
Oh really?
reveal the unwritten rules for doing business in India. I'm Max, a YouTuber and entrepreneur. Let's go!
What's the biggest misconception about India from the rest of the world, or from the Western world?
The Western media always like to project India as a poor,
That's for sure.
slum,
That's for sure.
overpopulated, very low GDP,
Yeah.
very undeveloped.
I feel like it almost
very
makes them
uncultured.
feel safe,
So
you know?
it's a lot of negative things that
Yeah.
we say about India.
They
But
wanna feel
it's,
good them-
most
good
of this
about
are
themselves.
Sometimes I feel like
You
it.
cannot say that the country is backdated when they have very fast 5G network. You cannot say that they are very unconnected when they have one of the best airports in Asia. Example,
Where?
Mumbai airports and Delhi airports
Oh.
are very advanced.
Well, Bengaluru airport now is
The new one, yeah.
pretty good.
Not very futuristic, but what they are supposed to have, they have it. in
I have
the
seen the
airport.
Mumbai one. I've
Restaurants,
stayed
the
20
shops,
hours in it,
retail,
and it's
they have
really
all of
good.
them. When you try to say like country is very poor, not true also, because
Yeah.
their growth right now it's also very
Yeah.
exponential. So you could be reporting something that's very 10 years ago
Hmm.
or 20 years ago versus what you have right now. You know, very strong IT, very strong finance hub, very strong pharmaceutical.
Oh, really? That I didn't
very
know.
strong
Manufacturing
car
of pharmaceuticals.
Very
Mm-hmm.
strong commodity manufacturing, steel, iron,
Yeah.
oil. So it's not true to
Yeah.
say that it's like 30 years before China. It's not true lah. Some aspects they are, like rural area development, they are behind. If you compare like richness versus richness, then India is also very advanced. I think there are top 5 number of billionaires
Crazy.
in Asia. I think probably like number 4 or something. Also super rich, but they don't report that so much. And they also don't report that most of the food on the table is organic. People in the
That's
Western
true, yeah.
world would spend a lot of money
Yeah.
buying organic food.
In
right?
Japan,
But
yeah.
there it's already
It's not even
very
available.
It's like you don't even buy
And
organic because it's
also,
so
we don't
pricey.
report that their healthcare system is very affordable. The best doctors, the best knowledgeable ones, the best practical ones are also in India. They don't report that as well. More on the negative reporting, not so much on the positive. That's the biggest misconception.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's kind of, let's say, American media, they portray China is like
Human trafficking.
very bad.
Yeah.
But like India, do you think India also like perceived as an enemy?
No, I don't believe
Maybe
it.
not as an
Why
enemy,
the-
but like
why
a
the
poor
reputation is
country.
actually worse than the reality for India.
I think the Western world reports India in a backdated world, but not so much as an enemy.
Actually,
Western
they
world doesn't
usually
report
present it
India
more
as
as
an enemy. In fact,
inoffensive.
They are trying to bring them up also.
Okay.
Western world is trying to bring Vietnam and India up in manufacturing and IT. If you realize a lot of the top companies, CEOs are also Indian. It's unlikely that India is an enemy of US. But however, saying that, India wants to have a stance on its own. It doesn't want to become like the China of US like 20, 30 years ago. China became a manufacturing hub for the Western world 30 years ago. That's how they boom overnight.
Yeah.
India doesn't want to be like this. India
is
wants
good.
to be wants to stand on its own ground. They want to believe that they are strong not because of foreign investment. They are strong because of their own knowledge.
Which makes you even
their own
stronger when
culture,
you're not strong
because
thanks
of,
to someone else,
Western
right?
pushing.
You don't owe
Unlikely
anything to anybody.
India will become like enemies 20, 30 years later of the Western world. Very unlikely.
Yeah.
More likely they will be on their own ground. They will be, friends, and they will still become friends and foes of, example, China. They have the border issue, but they will not be like extreme. I will not be too friendly with you, but I will also not be an enemy of you. And that has always been a historical trend. India doesn't invade others in history. It was always being invaded, like Alexander the Great invaded India. The Mughals in today's world, Iran, Afghanistan invaded India, but they never invaded others. Still, they have some differences with China and Pakistan, but they don't invade others. So I don't think they want to actively become enemies with anyone. But still, they would still try to grow their own defense and make sure they're super strong. And in time to
Yeah, I
come,
mean,
they will,
defense
because they
is
launched
better
the
than
cheapest and good rocket to
crossing your
I think it was
fingers
moon,
and
right?
hope nothing
At
happens.
a fraction of Tesla's cost. Imagine what they can do with their defense budget. Good weapons at an affordable price. I mean, they are already working on that right now as we speak. Better planes, submarines, warships. They are really
Yeah, I think the
growing
Indian
super
army
fast
is
in the
really
last
good,
10
right?
years
Yeah.
after the new government came up. Definitely a force to reckon with in the world standing order.
Yeah.
Maybe top 3 for sure. In a matter of time. I mean, they've already projected that their GDP will be like number 3 or something. Now it's like number 4, number 5. And because of the sheer size of population, it would just become
crazy.
number 3 by default. If you look at it from a business perspective, it's also good to invest there. GDP is strong, very highly educated, graduates, very affordable land prices, very strong stock market, and very English-oriented legal system. It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Even though there are like red tapes, other than India, where else in the world to invest?
It's
I mean,
true.
of course, there's Southeast Asia nearby, but if you want to grow big,
Yeah.
like really scale up, then for sure India would be a good location.
What's like unwritten rules that exist in India? Let's say when you do business, something that people don't talk about, but they exist.
I think just be careful, be mindful of your debtors, because Indian cultural payment is slow, right? People don't like to pay, but they like to receive.
Like everyone else.
That's
no?
true for everyone.
Delivering goods and services, but your payment comes 1 year later. I mean,
Whoa.
it happened to us also. Yeah. So just be mindful that you are well protected, that your payment comes back at the end of the day. Don't get played out.
And how you make sure that your payment will be on time?
So for my case, I try not to work with small companies.
Ah,
Okay.
Right?
bad at
Always
the
make
same
sure
time,
that,
but-
there's something legalized to protect yourself. Always make
Sure.
sure that in case if
Contracts,
something goes wrong,
agreements,
something
yeah.
is there to protect you. Because the legal system is not super strong in India.
Yeah.
So example, if you have somebody owes you $10,000, so to their legal system is raise a case, go through the small courts, then the high courts, go through the entire process, which will take you years. For $10,000,
Yeah.
it takes you years. So it's not worth it.
Wow.
So instead of waiting for that to happen, let's not go that direction. Let's work with maybe bigger companies
Yeah, reputable
who are
companies.
more worried about their reputation, not companies that can close overnight. Yeah,
Oof.
because in China it happened frequently. Even big companies, they close and they run
Oh,
away.
really?
Oh, wow.
So just
I mean, there
keep
was
yourself
this
protected.
company, right, with the
Be
buildings
careful of
that
your debts.
failed.
I mean, for restaurants,
They closed
also,
overnight, right?
Somebody can just buy a full table and then run away. Then you have to use your CCTV and all these things to
What?
catch them. But in the end,
Yeah.
you still have to go through a legal system.
Oh,
a long
yeah.
wait. So in the end, it's not worth it. Because
Happened to you?
yeah, I don't have a restaurant in India, but I know it happens often.
No.
Oh,
Freeloaders are common. lah. And only because of that, that's why some of the restaurants, they tend to ask payment first.
I've never seen that though.
That's only
we
fast
didn't have
food
the
restaurants,
case.
though.
How to socialize
But
with
Like
it's the
even in
same
Japan,
everywhere.
it's the same.
Yeah, fast food you
food,
always
yeah.
pay before.
Beer, lah.
beer?
Beer is still beer.
Same as everywhere.
Yeah, beer is a common language still. Okay, if
Ah,
you
no,
go to
a lot of people
city
prefer
or state
whiskey,
which is not
yeah.
so westernized, you try to talk to let's say a woman, just asking for direction, right? Then maybe it's already
Oh,
harassment.
really?
No, I don't
Okay,
think so.
in Delhi and Mumbai it's okay,
Yeah.
but imagine you're going to a rural.
Rural
Yeah,
area.
fair.
You don't talk to a girl, right? Because it's very, they respect their privacy a lot, right? So when you talk to a girl, you have to be careful, right? I mean, you have to mind your manners. When we go to a big city, right? Let's say you go to a bar, when you buy a beer, I think that's like a common language. People are trying to chill out, they're trying to relax over a beer or a whiskey, right? I mean, that's very straightforward. It's very relaxed way, right? But if you're like, you know, you're a stranger, you're a tourist, right? You're trying to ask for direction in a big city, I think they're okay. Yeah, and then you want to exchange numbers, asking for ways later, or exchange Facebook, Instagram. I think it's okay. No hard and fast rule about how to go about it. People are generally okay about it, but if you go to a rural site, then maybe you have to mind your manners.
Well, it's true
People are a bit
for
more conservative in rural
it's true for
areas.
any country,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, more
Rural.
family
Yeah.
rules,
Like you go to
etc.
rural
But
America.
for big cities,
you could be killed.
problem, Ask
Well,
for
I wouldn't
permission.
say that of
simple.
France,
Talk
but
to a stranger,
rural
make
France
friends,
is also a bit more.
especially in a bar. You
Yeah.
know, people
Could be
are also trying to
killed
make
for a
friends
silly
there.
reason
Yeah.
in
So
America.
That's
It's very
true.
casual.
Yeah, I noticed it. People
Trespassing.
are super
So
friendly,
casual.
super open to talk. Actually, they're not afraid. Like in big city, they're not afraid to talk with you. They even like curious. They start asking questions. Yeah.
I mean, you could be even more friendly there in Mumbai as compared to here. In Singapore, you try to talk to a stranger.
Oh, they
the
are in
first
Singapore
impression is
now.
like,
Okay.
they always look down. I mean, I don't
okay.
mean look down as in looking down on a
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
The eyes,
They're like busy.
the eyeball will be.
Oh,
like,
really?
No,
Shy.
if you talk to a stranger, the person would try to like size you up, looking at what you wear or.
Really?
Yeah. The first impression.
Yeah.
Like you talk to a stranger, if you're talking from the side, the eyeballs will be like that. Yeah, it's a Singaporean thing. If you realize, okay. But once that shock is over, then he would start to like talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you experienced this in Bali or Bangkok, but it's a Singapore thing because people are
Bali?
they're still quite wary here.
Haven't
But in Mumbai,
noticed
Delhi,
that in Bali.
you won't. You won't sense this. You ask the question, you get your answers immediately. It may not be direct answer, you may not be correct, but still people try to answer you. Like initially when I ask for direction, go straight lah. Let's go straight. Yeah, straight. It's a generic answer. Go straight. Even though
Even if they don't know, oh my god!
Hey, go straight lah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so initially I was played around a few times now. Go straight.
Yeah.
Actually, it's behind lah. Yeah, but it's a slang thing. It's a cultural thing. Go straight. What's that?
It's like you don't want to admit you don't
People
know.
like to talk about. Like in Singapore,
Yeah.
food. Like
Yeah.
where you go makan is
Yeah.
like the topic that everyone would talk. But in India,
The first few questions is always how's your family lah?
how's the family?
Yeah. How's your daughter? I get that most of the time.
Yeah.
Within the first
Because he has
few
a daughter.
questions. Singapore, I think it's more subject oriented. Like example, you go to an outing with your friend. I mean, the moment you sit down, it's like maybe not so much about how are you. Hey, what to order?
Yeah. It's more, I guess it's more straight to the point.
Yeah.
Therefore, we straight away go to the subject. But over there, it's more relaxed, more casual. How's your family? How's your wife? How's your
I mean,
husband,
family
for
is
example.
big in India, right?
Yeah.
It's more like a casual
More
thing
than,
of asking.
Singapore.
Not really a intrusion of privacy. It's more like a casual thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I guess it's like,
some
how are you
Singaporean may
kind of
not
thing,
like
right?
it. Like, why are you asking about my
Oh,
mom?
really?
Yeah.
My mom is 75 years old on a wheelchair, example, at home. She's not feeling well. Why are you asking me? So difference in culture, but once
So people
you're
in
used to
Singapore
it,
would take it bad?
I think it's okay.
I noticed it as well. Like even taxi drivers, if they chat, if you chat with them,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, do you have wife? Do you have kids? How old are the kids?" They're very curious about your family.
Yeah.
That's
But
nice.
Singapore, no lah. I think it's a private thing.
I think Singaporeans try not to bother you too much.
I think it's
So
because
they like-
it's a
Yeah.
tax
They're
heaven.
worried of asking
Oh, you
stupid
think?
questions.
Yeah, I think in countries like that,
They
people
maybe
tend to be
just to,
extremely private.
Like make you uncomfortable or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
Like
and they are also
Switzerland,
worried of not
Luxembourg.
being part of the subject. When you go out, you always have a meaning. Like example, if you go clubbing,
Yeah.
you go football, you go for a beach. It's always about that subject. It's always very focused and subject
Interesting.
oriented.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you go out, in example, in India, it's more casual. We don't have a mission tonight. We don't have like a target. But unlike here, when you go out,
It's more
in my younger
relaxed.
days, tonight we have to get drunk. Tonight we got to
That's
get
the
drunk.
target.
When you go partying, that's the common target. We have to get drunk.
What a
We don't
target.
have that kind of target in India. Just chill and just relax. Hospitality is super strong in India. I'm not sure if you heard about the hotel chain called Taj. Taj is owned by
I mean, this is a 5-star
and they're
hotel.
like top few hotels in the
Oh,
world.
really?
Although they're not Marriott's, but they value the hospitality a lot. That's
For,
another
I
group
guess,
called
for the
ITC.
price you
They
pay.
make the best hotels in
Wow,
India, and
this
they're
is
always in
huge.
the palaces. So it's more like a cultural thing, right? And guests, when you come to people's home, they have a saying, they value you as king, actually. I think they respect that, you coming all the way, you spending time.
Not king, I
going
think it's
to
almost like a
very
god.
local
Wow.
home. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't have much.
Guests
I mean,
are
especially
treated
for
as
foreigners.
gods.
Really?
It's not like every
And it's
day
a
they
saying.
get a foreigner going inside their home. So it's a kind of prestige also. Sometimes you may get a host showing you off, hey, I got this friend from Singapore, I got this friend from China,
Oh,
I got
really?
this friend from Europe.
Yeah.
So
funny.
for them, it's also a kind of pride, I guess. So it's the hospitality and the friendliness, right? In a friend's home, automatically the tone comes down. They're more casual. Yeah, because they are not so, for us, we like to, go to Robertson Quay, go to Clark Quay. But for them, they are more homely. So it's always more about a relative's home. That's when they can really calm themselves down and be themselves.
Let me show you some magic. If you click on this video, I will disappear and reappear again. Let's try it.
What's that?
That's funny. Yeah, I
This guy
guess
has a really strong Russian accent.
most of the video is mostly about like cultural difference and all. It's
Culture,
not so
at the
much
very
about
beginning, he talks about
lies.
like,
Yeah.
the
It's the
media.
subject of the video is mostly in the first like 1/3 of the video, right?
Yeah, and later on he talks about,
Yeah,
like,
more like differences between
cultural
Singapore
things.
and India,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting. But I do agree about the lies spread. I feel like the media abroad kind of focuses on negative points. Like the
True.
image I had of India when I was in Europe
yeah.
was mostly a poor country, uneducated people.
Mhm.
And when you go a bit outside of the mainstream media, you're like, that's so wrong. Like most engineers are coming from India. I think people start to realize because of, first of all, engineers, because a lot of engineers in the world are actually Indian people abroad working from America and all. So you start to realize that.
Yeah.
And I think also, like he was mentioning about like aerospatial, I think now India has really proven to the world that they are not like forced to kind of like ignore, right? It's like they're in the game as well, and you should take them seriously.
Space exploration, yeah.
Yeah, because space is huge. I mean, you need the money, you need the brain for it, and showing that, well, it's kind of like they arrived there and then they got into it. They didn't fail that much comparing to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's...
so they show that they're really
Strange.
strong.
But as you say, like as he mentioned, but rural areas are probably not as developed due to...
Yeah.
I mean, this is purely because that's the way of life in like rural areas. They don't change.
It's a bit slower to
yeah.
change that. But I think it's really, I would dare say international. I mean, at least I'll talk for my own country. Rural areas are more slow to evolve, right? Also because I think it's the case in a lot of countries now. The rural areas also are full of old people.
Yeah.
There's less younger people. They go to bigger cities. So,
and the younger people who stay back, they're usually those who don't study so much, right?
Yeah, or like they are fine with the mentality of the village.
Yeah.
You know? Like they are okay with this kind of mentality. They don't want to change that. They are not looking for change. So I think that's why it's a bit more slow to evolve.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not 100% true, but in average, this is what we see often in countries.
This was a really good video for me to to look at India from another
from a
foreigner's perspective. I didn't know that Singaporean people, when they go out, they're like fully focused on
that. Is funny.
They have a target, and like when you're going to the beach, you only talk about.
If I ever go to Singapore, I will not ask how their family is.
Yeah, I'll make sure. Family. I mean, this I don't do it anymore because I've been living outside of India for almost a decade now. So I don't ask about, like, what's your family doing? Do you have a family? Are you married? You have kids?
But people
Things
are quite
like
curious about this in India.
It's like he was mentioning, it's a cultural thing. People casually ask, okay, do you have I don't know, like kids, are you married, where are you from, and things like that. And it's not like extremely private questions, but
Yeah, I
I've
guess it's just to
noticed-
get to know people, right?
get to know people. I mean, what's the point of speaking if you're not genuinely not trying to
Yeah,
get to know?
they're not asking for your
people,
bank
right?
account.
Yeah,
They're literally just asking back questions that are not so private.
yeah.
So
But I also tend to think that in Singapore being one of the like financial hubs, I think people tend to be more like target oriented,
maybe, yeah,
more focused,
business
and
minded.
goal oriented, business minded, money
maybe.
minded. Yeah, and also like when you are like too business minded and money minded, especially, you tend to like you like privacy. You like to have privacy, right? Because I don't know. It's also in some
maybe.
ways Singapore is a tax haven, so you're probably you're not doing anything illegal, but again, since it's a tax
Yeah,
haven, you
it's
need to
not.
keep things kind of private.
I don't know. Maybe it's also cultural.
Yeah, it could be
Just
cultural
like,
as well, but yeah.
Because I see, like, comparing Asia to Asia. Like, for example, Japan, it's not a tax haven, but people like to keep to themselves.
True.
So I think maybe it's also a bit of Asian culture.
But
India is
but
not
money is
that stereotypical.
quite big in Japan. The like
Yeah, as
people are
well.
very private, and like
Though I feel like
business
people
and
talk
money-
about money
money
more
on-
easily than people in France.
oh, in Japan.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
It's really taboo in France.
Okay.
So it depends, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this video was really interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's also really time to hear like people finally saying like what you see in media is like 20 years old. Like this, I mean, I guess media is starting to evolve, but still they're a bit behind.
Yeah.
And I feel like often when we speak about India, again, that's what he was saying. India is not this dangerous, aggressive country. So
Yeah.
I think most of the time we don't talk about India. And when there's something to talk about, it's never really positive. Like,
True.
okay, there's a murder, there was an accident, those kind of thing. And you're thinking, oh, okay, like maybe like train accident or something, and people get this image, okay, like it's a poor country, the facilities are not good. I'm like, there's accident all the time in every country. But I guess it kind of like people get this mindset of India is poor, uneducated, like
Not
the
developed
transportation and all is not up to date, but it's not true.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this was a really
Yeah.
good video to watch. I like I don't know whether it's from Russia or like some other Eastern European countries. He does really good videos. I recommend if people are interested in culture, getting to know about like different countries, and not only that, like getting to know about your own country from another person's
I like that
perspective.
Yeah.
This guy, he does a lot of videos like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's really visits like various different countries.
Cool.
He interviews people and
it's
like
nice
kind of
to-
learn about their experiences, cover the experiences in the videos. Pretty good, cool guy. Yeah, it's a pretty cool video overall. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good day and bye.
Bye.